Alright, so this is crazy. According to a study conducted by the ATA, there are 3.5 million truck drivers in the US, but only 313,000 public parking spots nationwide. That means for every parking spot in the US, there are 11 drivers fighting for it at any given time. This problem is even worse in some places like the South, where in certain states like Arkansas, there are only 66 parking spots available throughout the entire state for the 100,000 truckers that travel through there daily. This is obviously a massive problem that truckers have been dealing with for many years now, but the government just doesn't seem to care. Everyone is so focused on other issues like the driver shortage, but no one really stops to ask themselves the question, where are all these new truck drivers going to park their truck? There are a lot of estimates floating around the internet on the number of drivers we're short in trucking, but the newer studies that I've seen suggest we have a shortage of roughly 80,000 truckers. If through some magical combination of government incentives, a shift in priorities, and a lot of luck, the industry does manage to fill this shortage, the lack of truck parking spaces will only get worse. But don't worry, because in today's video, we're going to talk about what's causing this problem, what's being done about it right now, and how we can fix it. Let's just start off by asking the most obvious question, which is, where the hell are 3 million drivers parking every single day? Well, right now, most drivers choose to park their truck for the night at major truck stops that are spread across the country. This is usually the top pick for any driver because these facilities offer a lot of services depending on how big they are. These services can include laundry and showers, food and entertainment, power hookups, and sometimes even heating and air conditioning for drivers spending the night. The problem with finding parking at truck stops is that they usually fill up really quick. A lot of experienced truckers will tell you that if you want to even have a chance of finding parking at a truck stop, you need to get there before 6 or 7 p.m. And if you want to find a spot at a truck stop that's near a busy route, you'll have to get there even sooner. Rest stops are also another location where drivers can check out for the night, but of course they have their own parking issues. Even though rest stops for truckers are typically government run, the services that each of these locations offer can change obviously based on location. So if a driver does manage to secure a spot at a rest stop, there might not be electrical hookups or other facilities, like even basic facilities that drivers usually need. This obviously leaves drivers with no other choice other than to idle their engine or run their power unit for heating and cooling during the night, and then they get yelled at by their company for wasting fuel. As I mentioned before, most drivers won't be able to find a place to park at an official rest stop or truck stop. So what do? Well, they find unofficial parking spots. This includes parking on the side of the road, in a commercial parking lot, or anywhere a driver can get their truck in and out of. By being forced to park in dangerous places, drivers are not only risking their own safety, but they also massively increase the chance of receiving a parking ticket. I'm sure a lot of you watching have had to deal with this problem yourself, but it seems like the problem only got worse since the ELD mandate in 2017. According to a survey conducted by the FHA, more than 75% of truck drivers said they regularly had trouble finding safe parking when it came time to rest. And over 90% said they struggled to find safe and available parking at night. Think about that for a second. Over 3 million drivers say they can't find a safe place to park at night. And on top of all that, all these changing HOS time rules is just making the problem worse. According to the ATRI, truckers on average spend nearly an hour a day looking for a parking space. And if we break this down, this means that drivers lose approximately $5,000 every single year just to find somewhere to park. Add this on to the huge list of other problems that drivers have in the industry, and you can see why most drivers end up quitting. But listen, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, the government does know that this is clearly an issue, and with Biden's infrastructure plan, there might be some small hope. Even though the bill didn't explicitly set aside money for truck parking, it has put a lot of money into accounts that could be used to increase the availability of truck parking spaces. Also, the Truck Parking Safety Act was introduced last year, in the House of Representatives, I believe, which would set aside $755 million for truck parking, but it hasn't had a committee hearing yet, of course. Listen, it can be easy to just brush this issue off as just another trucking issue, but in reality, the shortage of parking spaces for truckers is a problem for everyone sharing the road. If truckers are tired from driving all night and not getting enough rest, they are at greater risk of getting into accidents on the road. And the lack of available parking spaces is also frustrating to our truckers that are honestly just asking for the bare minimum. They just want a safe place to rest for the night, and if they can't do it legally, then they have no other choice than to park illegally and increase the chance of getting a traffic ticket. What's even crazier is that truckers usually have to pay these tickets themselves, which obviously lowers their take-home pay even more than it already is. And listen, the less truckers make, the less likely they are to continue in this industry. That also means that the trucking profession will be a lot less attractive to the next generation of drivers. With the average driver age of around 50 plus years, the industry desperately needs a new, younger generation to replace the aging workforce in order to keep this industry moving forward. Other than the government building more parking spaces for truckers, the only way I can see this problem getting solved is through better technology. If truckers were able to reserve available parking through an app and see what facilities that truck stop or rest stop offered, truckers would be a lot less frustrated and waste a lot less time. There are apps out there that claim to do that, like Trucker Path, but it's not always accurate and it's not on a national scale just yet. Anyways, this is just one of the many problems that are causing truckers to leave the industry. If you want me to expose all the other reasons, make sure you watch this video next. And if you want to know how carriers are scamming new truck drivers, make sure you watch this video right here. With that being said, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.